Back to another episode of Unranked Podcast. Got Elijah here, Grant, of course. What we're going to do today is go ahead and jump in. Really, just kind of want to discuss a comment that Harbaugh made over over the last week or so. One that I agree with, but definitely something interesting that can, when you're University of Michigan, saying those type of things, it tends to grab a lot of attention. He basically said that he believes that they have about 20 players on a roster that he thinks will be drafted in the NFL next year. So yeah, Eli, I just want to kick it over to you. See what your thoughts are, and we can have a little bit of dialogue here, back and forth on who we think. See who we can name those players and who
Yeah,
who all he
so
thinks it could be.
uh, I think it's not. I think he's pretty spot on. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
somewhere in the high teens. 20 might be a bit aspirational, but it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely somewhere in the high teens. When you consider all the guys who would have been draft picks last year, circled the block again, came back to raise their draft capital, try to win another Big Ten championship, try to go for a national championship. I mean, we have at the top of my head, I could probably think of 2 to 3 guys that would have been drafted last year that came back. All of those guys are going to get drafted this upcoming year and only are going to raise their draft capital. So
Yeah.
when you consider the natural progression, even when we were, you know, at the depths of the program, we were cranking out 3, 4, 5, 6 a year. A couple of times under Harbaugh, we've reached like I want to say 14, 15, somewhere in that ballpark. So all that considered, I think it's a little bit aspirational, but definitely achievable. Obviously, that's as a as a head coach, that's one of your goals, probably a secondary goal. I think if Harbaugh could win a championship every year and not have a player drafted, I still think he would be a happy man. A lot of
Yeah.
Michigan fans be happy guys, but that's how you get a lot of those big time recruits coming in is getting them the paycheck on the back end. So I think it's kind of all it's a little bit of all of it. I think it's him kind of flexing his chest, him trying to hype up the team a little bit, um, probably a little bit of message to incoming recruits or high school recruits of hey, on a I don't know what would you say close to 100 guys on the roster, we're gonna have a fifth of them drafted.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think this you give a lot of credit too, just like the strength and conditioning team as well. Um, like, and one thing I'll also say is, like, first of all, like I agree, and I don't even think this is like an outrageous or like crazy statement or anything like that. Like, I think this is legit. Like, we have like that type of team. They've said that, like, I've heard like 3 to 4 different insiders on some of the podcasts I watch say that they feel like we have 7 linemen that could probably be drafted next year. So that, I mean, that's a big chunk of it. That's our identity. That's literally like what we live by. But no, I think to me too, it just shows just the development what we have. Obviously, like you said, even when we weren't doing that well, we had like 3 or 4 guys. But Harbaugh is really, I mean, he's turned some 3 stars into you know third, fourth round picks. I mean, I think Hutchinson was a 3 star, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's got a lot of guys that he was able to just take and mold.
yeah,
And that's one of the things too.
I
Obviously.
I'm blanking on his name, but I think one like his claim to fame. I'm blanking on his name like an idiot, but he plays for the Tennessee Titans now, running back. Um,
Oh, Hassan Haskins,
Haskins was
prime
a
example.
2 or 3 star guy. I mean,
Yep.
like 60th pick in the draft, 65th pick in the draft.
Schoonmaker.
Yeah, yeah. So
Schoonmaker was like literally like the 300th best tight end or something, like in his
yeah,
class, like something wild. And they come in there, they stay 3 or 4 years, and like, yeah, I mean, they're ready to play in the NFL, contribute, whether it's special teams, third down back, tight end number 2, number 1, whatever it looks like. I mean, we've seen at almost every position there's
yeah.
somebody, from Michigan in the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, and so I actually just threw it on the old Google here. I overhyped it a little bit, but under Harbaugh, the most we've gotten drafted is 11 players. We got
Remember that
11,
2015,
11, 17.
17. Yep.
2017 we had 11, and we had 5, 5, 10, 8, 5, and then 9 last year.
Solid. And
Yeah,
I think, and this is with like, I mean, this is with like 3 star talent. And now, we're starting to kind of see the tide turn to
yeah,
where we're starting to see a lot more 4 star guys. I mean, I see us in a mix for a lot more 5 star guys. I mean, granted, you don't look at it too much just because of it. What recruiting is nowadays, you just never really know until they're in the building. with signed, letter of intent and everything. But if we continue to just churn out, or like continue to like churn out the type of players after they come in as freshmen and then start bringing in more than 4 or 5 stars, we're gonna start potentially taking over that first round as
Yep.
well. I mean, having Bama, Georgia, call it what it is, Ohio end up having 2 to 3 first rounders a year. I definitely think that we're trending in that direction. Even next year, we potentially have. I mean, Harbaugh thinks Jenkins, the D lineman, might be a top 10 pick. McCarthy got, he can play his way into that, first round. Edwards, Corum, it's a lot of
Yeah.
potential there already for next
I
year.
agree. I agree. Yeah, we got I agree with all of those players. Um Rod Moore,
Yeah,
maybe a couple of the boys on the O line, like Zinner, something
we
like that.
can.
I think those are all guys that could flirt with the first round, definitely second round guys.
Yeah,
Blake Corum is, obviously it depends on
surefire.
how the running back market goes, but he's a top 60 pick for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I, and a guy that, regardless of where he's taken, he's going to be a difference maker in the NFL for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
He's that talented. Um, Edwards, depending on how he goes, if he could stay another year and probably raise his draft capital, or he crank out either another year what he did last year. He could be out of here fresh
Yeah.
slate and
So I think he already,
more of a Swiss Army knife, can do it, like
yeah,
receive a little better, a
because he
little
might have
more.
unfortunately already put enough tape out there to where I think he's gonna be gone. Because he last year he had like 8 plays of like 60 or
60
more
yards.
yard. 4 of them was touchdowns. It'd be
Yeah,
nice if he hung around, but yeah, no, that's just with the talent. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done that in such a limited role. I mean, he was like number 3 his freshman year, number 2 all of this year. Only played like 8, 9 games. I mean, that's just like the team is just starting to really like ooze with some serious talent. I want to count real quick. So you got JJ, you got Blake and Donovan. The whole old line, that's probably 7.
Jenkins,
Jenkins,
um, Junior Colston, Will Anderson or
Colston,
Will Johnson.
yeah,
Uh,
Rod Moore, like you said earlier.
yep, yep.
Um, I feel
Uh,
like McGregor would probably, could definitely get drafted. I feel like Jalen Harrell could get drafted. I mean
yep.
that. I
It's a
mean that's.
couple, maybe like a. I mean, it'd be a later pick, like a Cornelius Johnson. That's a
Yeah.
fifth, sixth round flyer.
I mean I'm at 15 already, and that we got O line at 7. Went through running
Yeah.
back, quarterback, running backs, receivers.
I don't know if he's eligible, but like Mason Graham, um, somebody,
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
if not
somebody,
this year, definitely next year. Kenneth
yeah,
Grant. We got a lot of
he's an
guys waiting.
NFL talent. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a lot of guys waiting in the queue. Loveland. I mean, as soon as he eligible, I think he just screams first round talent.
yep.
I think it's yeah. I mean, and one of the things too, he said 20, and I mean he's probably leaning on the higher side of that because there's always a couple guys like that just kind of play themselves and you know I feel like every year we've always had a couple guys, especially the last 3 to 4 years, that just play themselves into like a late round or mid round pick when
For sure.
they're a 3 star sitting behind, 5, 6 receivers or running backs or something, and just kind of got their opportunity and was able to make it shake. So
100%. I agree. And I just looked up your boy Donovan Edwards. Man, he couldn't have got 9 more yards. He had
no,
990 more yards. Yeah. Um,
it was
but yeah,
close. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. Seven yards carry.
and half of that on a torn patella tendon. Like literally, he had like I think he had a torn patella tendon from like the Nebraska game up
That
until
sounds
the end
right.
of the season.
Yeah. Like you
Or
said,
I'm
half of
sorry,
it.
Hawaii game, and then he was like kind of sitting
Yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And he
And
had
then
busted hand too. Busted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it's I agree. Like I said, I don't think this is anything like I don't think it's anything like you said, it's not being cocky. I mean, I think this is literally like what it is. I mean, I think Georgia, nobody's asked Kirby Smart that question yet, but I'm pretty sure he would have, similar answer.
right.
Like this is where you want to like you can say these things without like it's not really bulletin board material, in my opinion. Like this is just really like
Yeah,
what
no,
it
I
is.
think it's a pretty accurate statement. I will say this is something, and that I don't know, it weighs on me both ways. I kind of like the last couple of years how we've had such an underdog mentality. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
just like we have to go out here and be, pirates. We have to take this. Nobody's going to give it to us. And then it seems like this season heading into it, it seems to be a little bit more of the we're the big dogs on a block again. And I think that's going to be interesting to see how kind of that plays out because it's
Yeah.
I obviously believe in this team night and day, but I like that just
Underdog.
take a turn from the Lions to grit of kind of you
Yeah.
know I like that kind of toughness about the team where you feel like you have to go out and earn it every single week, put your boot into these people's faces day in and day out. I hope we can keep that mentality with kind of the swaggerness of what we are really. I
Mm-hmm.
we need to gel the two, and maybe that's how you mix a national championship team together, where you're the underdog that comes out um, playing like the big dog. I kind of think
Yeah.
it's one of those.
And I like
I
too.
think we have to balance it. Yeah.
Yeah. What I love the most is that we still Ohio's still the favorite. At least I've seen sports books got them, to win the Big Ten.
Yep.
ESPN that whatever they are as a network now. They give it
I see
Ohio
82% of
82%
people say
for
they're gonna
them
make
to.
the playoffs. Yeah.
Yep. And so I like it's we have a lot of bulletin board material. We got coach like, okay, coach don't say we all going to the league. So now we gotta, it's time to show out. We have extra eyes on us. We got, Harbaugh with he got 2 games per burger. And I feel bad for East Carolina. We might hang 80. And then you just got just and it's not we've been earning it. We turned the tide. I don't think we've earned the right to be the outright favorite to win the Big Ten yet. But I think if we do it this year, like I'll be kind of pissed off if we're not the favorite going into like 2024, 2025 season. You know what I'm saying? I think like now it's like, okay, is this like I don't know, we don't like it's not a fluke, you know what I'm saying? But I think the world is still just kind of looking like, all right, like they do it again,
Yeah.
maybe win it all, then I think it'll really like there won't be no reason to be putting us behind that team anymore.
I agree. I agree, and that is good. Like you said, bulletin board material. And I mean, we got the roster to compete. And it's on a it's got to be the next man up mentality. But I mean, there's a clear cut handful of guys that are going to make this team move, make the needle move for us,
Yep.
get the job done. And I know we each composed a little list of handful of players or units that if they go, we go. And
Yep.
so I know we haven't officially discussed our list, but I don't know if you want to go one for one or rattle off the total five,
Yeah.
but
I think
yeah,
1 for 1's good.
cool.
1 for 1. So we
Yeah,
start at
we're going
five.
most or least important.
Yeah, five to one. So least to
Okay.
most. Yep. Yeah. We do least to most. Yeah, I'll start off. Mine is I just put the O line room. So I feel like why I put them at five is I think they've already like established themselves. Now it's just a matter of just keep doing what we're doing, and then just hope that everybody stay healthy. I think we have if we had only maybe like if we weren't as deep at O line as we are, as they say we are, they probably be a little higher on the list. But I do feel like we can afford to maybe have a guy go down. Even last year, we had a lot of guys, a couple guys in and out the lineup. We were still able to make things happen. I do feel like with all the guys we got coming back, and some of the guys that transferred in, and some of the other like freshmen, I think we have enough to where I think it was just good to kind of put them at five, in my opinion. But yeah, they do what they keep doing. Another Joe Moore Award trophy. That'll definitely get us to the promised land.
Yeah, no, I mean that O line. I agree with you. I think they have proven themselves, and it seems to be kind of we're just reloading.
Yep.
Where they're playing everything right. So I agree with you. I'm not going to talk too much on that because I have them up on my list as well. But the first dude I have on my list is a guy we mentioned a couple times already, but just Chris Jenkins. I think he's a guy played behind Mozzie Smith last year, limited. I mean, I don't want to say a limited role, but kind of sitting behind a guy that was a top 50 pick, and that's no shame in that at all. I mean, Mozzie Smith was an absolute beast, and if he didn't get caught with the blicky, he probably would be a good 20 or 30 picks higher than he was. So, that's one of those things where I think he's just a massive guy. I remember him in pieces where he was coming off the screen where he looked explosive, and I think we for the going back to since Harbaugh got on campus, he's always had that guy on the D line that put fear in all the Big Ten. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm looking for him to do this year, come into his own. And I had it wrote down, but I deleted it. I think he only played like 130 snaps last year, and
Wow.
it had 3 sacks. Putting up okay numbers for a guy getting
Limited time.
15-20% of all the snaps played. So yeah, that was kind of the first guy on my list. I think if he goes and sets the tone for that D line, the rest will follow.
Yeah. That was a guy. I mean, I heard Harbaugh tell somebody that he thinks he'll be a top 10 pick. I heard he came in like, and he's literally one of the examples of just how we've been able to develop talent. Came in as a 3-star, weighed like 240 pounds. Now he's like just, a grown ass man. That's just, yeah. So I think with him, got Mason Graham, and then my favorite, my guy Kenneth Grant,
Yep.
pulled up. He didn't play a ton either last year.
Like
That
350
rotation,
pounds. Yeah.
yeah,
Huge.
that like those are the guys that like Bama and Georgia get all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice, the Quentin Williams, the
Yep.
Jalen Carters. You'll just be curious to see how Jenkins and how they work all them guys together, different packages and such. So that's a good one there. Good call for sure. All right, number 4. For me is and this is kind of like I'm saying this guy as in like a watch out for him, and I don't even think we're gonna have to. I think he's gonna come on the scene like crazy. Derek Moore, sophomore, this year, played a little bit last year. But you know me, I'm always, I'm big on what these edge rushers are gonna look like. The new age of football. Our biggest rival. They're known for having solid quarterback, fantastic receivers. And the way you win games nowadays is just being able to get to the quarterback. Obviously offense, you dominate the line of scrimmage, run the ball. We are, that's our identity. And our identity, I feel like our identity is also on the defensive side of the ball to where we're destroying other O lines with our front seven, with our edge rushers. I think Derek Moore, I mean, he was a 4-star, very limited production last year, or very limited plays last year, but he had some pretty solid production. I think, he was able to, now have a full year under his belt. I think he's really going to push. We're deep at edge rusher this year, too. McGregor, Jalen Harrell, got Josiah Stewart from Coastal Carolina that transferred in. And I think Derek Moore, I think out of all of them, he's like what your prototypical edge rusher, what you want them to be. 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 270, 280. I'm looking forward to just seeing, what his development has looked like over the last year.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great call. He's another guy that he definitely, if he goes, we go. I think that
Yeah.
the him and Jenkins, the 1-2 punch on the O line, throw Graham in there. I think that's going to be a lot to mess with when you're keeping those guys fresh. And that's another thing where the drop off isn't that much when
Mhm.
when you're taking a top 50 pick this year and taking him running him off the field with a top 50 pick next year, and it's just wave after wave, and that's when you just start to wear those O line down, and you see that kind of like we always said last year, you just kind of see that vice grip slowly close on the team O line. I
Yeah.
agree. That's a great pick. Uh, yeah. So next, kind of an obvious one. I had to put him on there because he has to go as well, but I'm putting Corum on there. I think Corum,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he has to go for us. He has to come full swinging like he did last year. Where I think there was moments, particularly the start of last year, where we were just running him into the ground. Like I
Yeah.
think the Iowa game stands out to me, where he was. I don't want to be crazy, but he was probably known for 35, 33 carries in that game. Just something that's not sustainable. But I think the combination of him and Edwards with that old line that we've already mentioned, um, he just has to make the right play, and I believe in him. I just think he's one of those guys that I want to see him go out and compete for that Heisman again. I think if he's out competing for the Heisman again, then I know we're sitting there in heading into the Ohio game at 11-0.
Yep.
I you know, game in and game out, you know, getting the dirty yards and getting the big plays. I think that's kind of what he's just a fantastic college running back as far as he can go in there and duck his head into the hole, get a little couple of yards, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, and then he's elusive enough to break one off on you. And I think just that combination of him, that O line,
Yeah.
running Edwards, I think that's all kind of like a three-headed monster that we should really lean into. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sick to my stomach for him that he would have won the Heisman last year if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
If he would have even same thing happens and he comes out and has 100 yards on the maybe not even give him 80 yards in that Ohio game, he has that Heisman sitting on his mantle right now.
Absolutely.
And I think hopefully he can come out and have enough fire to get to compete for that again. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah. No, you hit it right on the head. I mean, I just feel like hell, even if he didn't get hurt, I think we would at least made it to national championship too. Because like I don't know about you, but hearing about Edwards and like how he was playing and just how dismantled our backfield was, that
yep.
game just makes so much more sense to me as to like how it kind of unfolded. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna dig into the whole lot because it already happened. But I think one example is just like uh, Mullins when he got
Yep.
the carry at the one and fumbled. Like had no idea that Edwards had a torn patella tendon, broken hand. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it just showed me that like we was like dragging to the finish
Yep.
line. But yeah, I say all that just to say I do feel like Blake Corum, and this is actually going to segue into my third one. So I'll kind of just end up doing that. I actually put him and Donovan Edwards as the three, at number three for the most important, most impactful players. I just, ideally you want to just see both of them maybe, 900, 1,000, 1,100, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of, obviously the season will kind of play out how it works. I'd love for Blake to be, 12, 13, 14, looking, in that Heisman race. But man, like I just think about how we was feeding him the ball, crazy. Like you just hit it right on the head. He was getting the ball 30, 34 times, 35 times, just like games in a row. And he only got hurt of like a freak injury. It wasn't even like, you know what I'm saying? Like he just guy
Yeah.
caught him in the leg. So it was like, I mean, he was holding it down, but if we can keep both of them healthy. And I mean, it's a long season now too. I mean, it's a max, 16 games is ideally what we
Oh, yeah.
trying to play. So, you're looking at or 15 games. You're looking at just like even having working like a number three back in there. I wonder if it's gonna be my man that was there last year. I'm blanking on his name. But we also got Benjamin Hall. That I
Yep.
heard did pretty well in spring ball. He's a freshman. Got Cole Cabana. Be curious to see how he's used. But yeah, I'm sick of missing.
Sparingly, I hope.
Yeah, we were right. Yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying? Like,
No, I get you. I get you. I got the roster pulled up here too. Isaiah Gash.
oh, not
Uh,
him. Let me see. It was I got it right here. It was
nope.
CJ Stokes.
Yep.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. He coughed that ball up that one time, and
right.
I don't know if he made another road trip after that.
Yeah,
But
he saw sparingly. Yeah, that's a fact.
no, I think that's a good that happens, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a good you got to value this. You got to value this with your life, especially as a third string back. So no, I agree with you. That's
Absolutely.
a little bit of welcome to the big leagues here, and but no, he looked okay when he played. So I agree.
Yeah, 55 carries, 273 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, and very like behind who he was playing with.
Mm-hmm.
That's solid freshman production.
100%. Yeah, no, and I like that you put those two together because I just like I kind of said with the old line, I think that's kind of a triad. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
I like view them all as one unit. The old line,
Yep.
Words, Blake. I think they have to kind of gel together and have a nucleus of like, hey, as a unit, we need 225 yards on the ground a game. I don't
Yep.
care how that's happening. You big boys got to move these guys out the way, and we gonna figure out the rest.
Yep.
I need a breather. You need a breather. Whatever. I think they got to look at it as a tandem. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's spot on with that. And I mean, we got 2,000-yard backs. I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
And
that
it,
happens. I'll be ecstatic. We find a way to get both
yeah,
of them over 1,000.
100%. And I think it's definitely possible because I mean, obviously Edwards wouldn't have got that many carries, the back half of the year if Blake wouldn't have gone down. But there was a long stretch where we had to give Blake the ball that many times because Edwards wasn't playing at the start of the year. So those carries probably would have evened back out. And so I think I could definitely see him. I mean, he's not going to tail off. So if you get him 180 carries for the year, that's 1,000 yards.
Yep.
So and no, I agree. So I think I don't have to go in too much about my next point, but my next one is the O line.
Yeah.
A lot of things I've already said, but just I just want that consistency, them to be the day in and day out. We know what we're going to get from them when JJ's playing like a first round pick. They're they're still playing like the best O lineman. When JJ's messing up, knock on wood, he doesn't do that. They're still playing solid. We just need them to be a staple of the team week in and week out. Whether it's 100 degrees at kickoff first game of the year down to 20 in snow versus Ohio. We just need them to be that rugged group up front, and I know they can. I mean, they're running like oil machine.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the award, but I think they won it consecutive years or were in the hunt. Yeah, yeah, in the hunt. I mean, and just a star-studded offensive line.
Yeah.
Like you said, the whole unit's probably going to get drafted, but a couple of those guys are going to be future anchors of NFL teams.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's just a unit I'm excited about.
Yeah, and just to even kind of add too, I mean, I was watching Harbaugh's press conference at Big Ten Media Day, and yeah, I mean, he even mentioned I'm talking. He feels like they legit have like two starting centers, and they got like two additional, and this is like huge. I don't think like I'm trying to like really emphasize because I feel like it's like something that not really getting enough attention like that. I mean, obviously Harbaugh's saying it all now, but like if you got five starters, you got like two that should be starters. Like that's major. Like that never like you look at a lot of teams, especially in college, like a top 10 left tackle go down for like Wisconsin, or that's a bad example because they be reloading like crazy. Say for like I don't know, we'll pick on Purdue.
Yeah.
Like a left, like it's rare that in college you have somebody that can kind of come in and fill that
Yep.
void. And like I said, we were doing it last year. Keegan was hurt, good part of the season. We weren't playing him like during some certain teams because we didn't need to.
Yeah, no, and that's a crazy luxury. And
Yeah.
similar to the D line, where when the drop off isn't that much, whether it's for a breather or for a game or
Yeah.
somebody twists their ankle mid first quarter, when the drop off isn't that much, you don't have to abandon your playbook because we have a dude that's inadequate at left guard right now. We have a guy
Right.
that the quarterback can trust in, the rest of the line can trust in, the play callers can say, okay, we know he's gonna hold it down. Yeah, he's not as good as Zinner, but he's
Mm-hmm.
not maybe doesn't have the name, but we know he can hold it down for us. So
Yep. We could
no, spot
we could lose a guy and then bring another guy in and like run like a 6 man lineman if we want I'm bullshit now, but I like that's just how like the depth there is just it's impressive. And
yeah,
it's crazy to kind of see how I mean that's always gonna be the staple at Michigan, but I think the last 3 to 4 years is really starting to look like when we had the all them left tackles getting drafted in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna
Agree.
go move on to the my second uh most important, most impactful player is Morion Walker. So I was gonna do cornerback room, but I got too many like units already in my top five, so I had to kind of just we're gonna put it on one guy, and I'm putting on Morion Walker just because I heard some great stuff about him. Just throughout spring ball, he was playing both sides of the ball, or kind of came in as like an athlete, and I think he's finally just gonna stay on that side on the defensive side, but has all the tools. It's just really a matter of I don't. I feel like the last couple years we just, even last year we had Will Johnson just kind of over there doing his thing, didn't need nobody, but it was always just kind of We had DJ Turner on the other side, but
Yeah,
got drafted high. I'm not gonna knock. I do kind of feel like, there's just times with that other cornerback, like Turner was smaller, so he was, a lot of jump balls. He was kind of losing a lot of like them big plays just like during games. And I think it's pivotal for us to just have, you know, um, a solid cornerback on the other side of Will Johnson. Even if it got to be, we got that guy Josh Wallace. I think he's from either Connecticut or UMass that transferred
you man,
in.
yeah, yeah.
We got Jaden McBurrows. He's I believe he's a sophomore this
Standard
year.
still. See,
Yeah, so we move him around. I think he's more like a nickel, but I'm sure like he's very capable of being on the outside. But I'm calling out Morion Walker because I feel like you know 6'3",
respect that.
180, 190. Yeah, 2 6'1", 6'2" corner. 6'2", 6'3" corners, locking it down. I mean, I think that's just like the piece that we just need to solidify in this defense as a whole. It's kind of been something that QB, the cornerback two, has been a little inconsistent the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need 2 6'3" corners going against Marvin Harrison Jr. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm spot on. So, I think we're right on with this. I'm actually going the opposite side, and I'm going Will Johnson.
Hmm.
I think um, for everything you said, but why we need a guy on the outside, I think he needs to step up and prove that he is that guy on as the number one corner. I think
Mm-hmm.
obviously he had a breakout year last year, throwing into the fire a lot, made a lot of big time pass breakups, few big time interceptions, laid the wood a few times. But
Was the one-on-one with Marvin Harrison Jr.
every yeah, yeah, out
in a
there on that island, yeah,
in a winner take all de facto playoff game in
yeah,
Clampton. Rest of the
yeah.
second half.
No, I agree, and that's why I think he has to take that and build upon it.
Yep.
Where if you can do that against a guy who I really do think, I mean, I'm not going to give Ohio too much credit, but I mean, he's a future NFL
Yeah.
1,000-yard receiver, game in and game out, or year.
100%.
So if you can lock him up, uh, that was the back half of his freshman year, if I'm not mistaken. But if you can lock him up
Yeah.
when you a year removed from your prom, I think all good signs. So I just one of those things where I think the dude's incredible, and I'm just ready for him to take another leap and kind of come into his own. Where uh, I don't know. I think this year or last year at least, a lot. Or I was a little nervous just because he was so young out there,
Yeah.
and putting a lot of it was scary to see a freshman standing out against top Ohio receivers. I had flashbacks from a couple years ago when we had Daxton Hill out there getting burned across the middle versus Ohio. It's one of those things
Drag
where
routes.
yeah, but he. So I just think he showed a lot last year, but he has to step up to the plate again this year and prove why he could be the first cornerback taken off the board in the following year. I mean, he's not even eligible this year. So you come out this year, the following year, you might be the first cornerback taken off the board. And I really think he's that talented where he shut down City. And it starts versus week one. I mean, heading into that game, and I'm talking a little hyperbole at this point, but heading into that game, I mean, he shouldn't have over like 250 yards receiving given up all year. You know what I mean? Like he should be
Right.
uh, ready to play. So
Yeah. I mean, no, I echo everything you said. Like I was still just kind of like watching Will Johnson get like acclimated, and the next thing you know, I just feel like we were watching Big Noon like week 6, and they're just like, yeah, starter. It's like okay, like
yeah,
this is
yeah,
it. Like he was in there pretty much. Like after I feel like after he popped that quarterback from Penn State, I think that was like kind of like literally the
yeah,
like turning point because he ended up having I think he had 1 or 2 interceptions against Rutgers. Um,
yep.
uh, you then put him against the dude Charlie Jones, that great receiver for Purdue in the Big Ten championship. He had 2 interceptions again.
They was testing
Um,
him. They was testing him, and
yeah.
that's the make or break point where when they
Yep.
test you, they know you might be something. But hey, we gonna see what this kid has. This 18-year-old, we
But
gonna throw him in the fire right here.
right.
Put
But
our
now I
best.
bet you nobody coming to him this year.
No, not at
So
all. Off mere what he did last year, you're gonna second guess that for a little bit. So I
yep.
agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think I can say with like a lot of confidence, we probably have the same
Yeah,
number one
it's looking
player.
that way. It's looking that way. Yeah, You went with the
Yeah,
kicker, right? No, you're not. You
right.
went with the
Punter, no, I'm playing. Heard the new punter's a dog though. Forgot his name, but I did hear Harbaugh says probably one of the best punters he's seen at Michigan. So, yeah, just another testament to how deep the roster this year. But yeah, JJ. I mean, I think it's goes pretty much without saying. Um, I've been harping on just the fact that last year he pretty much had to like fight for the job and like short notice.
Yep.
Won it. Um, and even prior to that, no spring ball, no full training camp. This year, put on 10, 12 pounds in the off season after a solid year where they really was like easing them in, easing them in. Like, he was just handing the ball to Blake, from about week 4 until about week 8, 9, and then started, kind of suffering some injuries. And we saw him, they started to open it up a little bit with them. And yeah, did what he did at Ohio, crushed against Purdue. Had some ups and downs. I think he got put in a tough spot in the playoff game. And he still showed out. But yeah, I mean, if he can do anything close to what, I mean, last year I'm pulling his stats up now. Um,
22
Last
and
year, I
5.
believe he was at, yeah, I mean, 22 and 5. He had like 5, 6 touchdowns on the ground. Um, he really just keep doing this. I mean, I think we can see him, maybe 25, 26 touchdowns. I like to see a little bit more like of him controlling the offense and not us just trying to just like run, Don and Blake into the ground. I want to see him really in control and just really doing what he's supposed to do, hitting them deep. If he hit half of them deep balls he missed last year,
Yeah.
this year we might be looking at him. I mean, they love to have quarterbacks in the Heisman race. I mean, we 7-8-0, with some little bit of solid numbers from him this year. He's gonna definitely be in the mix. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, he's not much more to be said than that.
No, I mean, I'm a mirror a lot of that. I think he was a 5-star. I'm pretty sure. So we seen what he did his freshman year. We made him earn it last year, well into the season. And then, like you said, he kind of had possession of the starting quarterback role, and then we kind of left the training wheels on. Took the training wheels off, and he made some timely throws for us, and I think that's what I'm looking for this year. I think
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, take care of the football. Secondary, hit the deep ball. Third, make timely throws when Blake got blew up on, we aired it out first down, nothing happens. Blake turn around, get popped for a 1-yard gain. Now it's 3rd and 9, middle of the 4th quarter. You got to step up and throw, or you got to make the right decision, tuck it and run. You got to do. I just think those are what I'm looking for, where you just to make the right decision, game in and game out. And I think uh, we've seen just how much of it. I don't want to use this kind of a cliche word, but how much of like a gamer he can be when we had to go for it. When it turned into a
Yeah.
track meet versus TCU, and he was launching the ball, he's running out of the pocket. He looked like a wild man there. But down to the end, I'm watching that shit leaving the wedding I didn't want to go to. Down to the end on my cell phone, I thought we had a chance
Yeah.
because of how that game was, and I just don't know with that proved a lot for me from that quarter from him. And I don't know, I'm just excited for it. And I kind of, as it was unfolding, I kind of thought we were both going to have him obviously fairly high, because that is first and foremost.
Yeah.
A quarterback can right a lot of wrongs. You get your defense blow the play, and that quarterback gets a little loose and has a 60-yard scamper. That fixes that.
Yep.
Not on wood for us. One of the running backs go down, quarterback can fix that. I think they could be kind of a quick fix for a lot of issues on a team, and it's it's your team here. First time in many years that we haven't had a quarterback battle heading into a season.
Yeah.
And I just think, or a quarterback controversy. Nobody's talking about who else should be playing right now.
Right.
And even Cade McNamara's 2021 year, half the people are like, hey, we should just go ahead and start Cade. Or with JJ. I mean, we should. So I think there's none of that happening right now. So, I mean, especially all things considering now that it
Right. Yeah,
transferred.
yeah, yeah.
But
No, shout out Cade. Cade did his thing.
yeah, who? No, it's fine. So
Cade.
yeah,
You forgot about the Rutgers game that quick?
yeah, no, but no, all things considered, I think it's his team, and it just I don't even want to put numbers on it because I think with how it the season can unfold, we could have 2,000-yard backs and JJ could do everything he needs to do and have 20 touchdowns, or I think we could let it loose and JJ could be pushing 35, 40 touchdowns,
Oh
and
my God.
I think
Don't say that too loud, bro.
I'm just saying it's feasible,
I know
and but yeah, no,
that.
I agree. So
No, but but we have. I feel like if JJ is what Harbaugh keeps saying he is, and we've seen what we think he is, we have that flexibility.
yep,
Like he can do either or. I just say that because I want to run the ball until I like when we run the ball on teams and we literally watch them like quit. Like I find joy in that. But yeah,
I
like
agree.
but then on the flip side, if the run
I
game
agree.
not
I'll
good,
put it this way though: 22 touchdown passes, and he practically didn't play the first 4 games.
yeah,
So even if you
crazy.
average 1.5 or 2 touchdowns in that, I mean, your
Touching
your
30.
22 is already at 30.
Mm-hmm.
Natural growth and progression. You could probably hit a couple more of those deep balls. Now you're at 32,
Yeah.
33.
Doing a couple
See,
QB sneaks.
yeah, throwing in, yeah. So if you hit 32, 33 passing, 5 on the ground again, you're pushing 38 tubs.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no more than 5, 6 picks. I mean,
Right.
you're in the hunt,
Oh
and
yeah.
so
No, I'm with you. I mean, like I said, I'd rather if that's what it takes to keep
no,
them two healthy in the backfield,
yeah,
like so be it. Because I love to have them two healthy when it's time to go into Ohio week, Big Ten. Had them chomping at the bit come playoff time. That'd be most ideal. I think it's time for JJ to we need to win because of him. What I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we can he's the quarterback. It's time to kind of really have put on your shoulders. We can't do Blake and Don how we had to last year. It's
right.
time to
I agree.
get
Yeah,
light the load
I
for them a
agree.
little
Just go
bit.
for it. Like
And, he,
play,
and, he's ready. I know he
yeah,
is.
100%. And it's kind of off the script a little bit. And then a couple of guys that I just really fought. And I guess when I was forming my list, I kind of took it a different route at first. So I have 3 people who you can name it whatever you want. I put them as an X factor / honorable mention for the top 5.
Okay,
I got
I
I
like
got
it.
Love, I got Loveland,
Yes.
Mike Sandersteele, and
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant. So
Okay.
I
Now,
think those guys all could have. I mean, obviously, let me just harper in on like Mike Sandersteele. We know what he is. Used to play receiver. Um, might kind of be the weak link in that defensive back room, but also he's had timely plays, timely interceptions, timely.
mhm.
It's one of those things where if he can put it all together, and you can kind of move his semi question mark into similar like you said about Will Johnson last year. If people feel like they can test you, then that's half the problem. If they feel like they can test you, they're just going to keep testing you, and then you got to keep proving yourself. But I think if he can come out and say, "Hey, like, I'm not going to be the weak link of this secondary here," and like you said, whether that's at the nickel or whether he has to step in and play, on the outside every now and then, I'm just looking for him to kind of he could be an X factor where he can make a big, be a ball hawk and kind of just take a little bit of pressure off the rest of that room. Where hey, you're a senior here. You for some reason flirted with the NFL. You decided, or not a senior, but a 5th year. You came back, and I think you know that's I don't know. I just really look forward to him kind of just being coming
Stabilizing.
to his own for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I think Sam's still. I think his best position in my opinion. If we just keep it out like the nickel, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I think he's a solid tackler. Seen him cover pretty well. Like you said, he definitely kind of has some moments here and there, but I think he's like that nickel position when everything else
Yep.
is locked up. I've just seen him. I'm impressed by the plays he's made when sometimes he can be that spotlight here and there. But yeah,
100%.
uber like excited that he came back for
For sure.
sure.
And then Loveland. I mean, we
Yeah.
like you said,
Oh,
Loveland.
yeah.
He's just a mismatch nightmare. Is he a small tight end? Is he a big receiver? Is he who are you gonna have guard him?
Yeah.
Him and JJ seem to have a bit of a connection. I mean, I to think last year he was a freshman in the Big Ten game. I might be adding a defender, but going over 3 defenders to score in the end zone, I think
Oh yeah,
that was a big time future NFL type tight end receiver. And I think that's just the beginning of what that little connection here. So I'm excited about that.
okay,
And then your boy Kenneth Grant, massive
yeah,
man, biggest dude on the team.
big fella about to
Uh,
be eat.
yeah, I think he'll come and in those little tiny moments. And this is my thought process. He's going to not get probably that much playing time this year, but we'll plant them seeds, and then for next year we'll be talking about him sitting here this year saying, "Hey, in 100 snaps last year, he had 2 sacks and a forced fumble in 100."
Yeah, I definitely he's like a 25 play.
Yeah,
Might be wrong though. He a big dude. I feel like he still need to kind of get tightened up a little more and
we got
you
him
know
listed at 356 online.
it's not bad. I think last time I think he might have been like three. I think I might have heard about came around like 370 ish. So they might be tighten, having to lose a little weight, get a little bit better shape. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I want to throw out one person. I didn't really have like a honorable mention X Factor type list, but I do just want to throw out a name that I feel could like if I kind of started to see this guy, it wouldn't really surprise me. Was Peyton O'Leary. You might not even heard of him.
Not actually.
Okay. In the spring game, he and JJ had a pretty good connection going. You might have to go back and watch the highlights, but I think he might have led both teams in receiving, had like 6, 7 catches. I think it's close to 100 yards. I say him because I feel like I'm looking, there's so many times last year where Andrew Anthony, kind of like, Burner, I think he played a little bit of the slot. O'Leary plays quite a bit of the slot. Um, at least that's what I was seeing when watching the spring game. I think that could be somebody that that wide receiver room is pretty deep, but there's not like a
Stand
guy.
out.
I don't think he'll be a guy, but I think he'll be like a safety valve. I think he can be like just one of them guys that JJ might be able to go to and rely on in tough spots and tough situations. Because I do feel like I don't say this in a negative way. I feel like our wide receiver room can sometimes it do be a little like, what I'm saying? It don't be like it don't always feel like it's as strong. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'd be curious to even like Darius Clemens to see how he looks this year. Obviously we got Johnson, we got
AJ Henning, that was a
yeah,
dude last year. I
him,
think he was on my X Factor list last year, and he might have
yeah,
had 300 yards all season.
yeah. He actually went to Trenton Northwestern, which is
Oh,
crazy.
shut
Yeah, Roman Wilson. We also got him too. He had he was injured a little bit, had a pretty big game in the playoffs. But yeah, I think this is somebody that I think after like Cornelius and Roman Wilson, um, and kind of seeing what happens with Clemens, O'Leary could be in the mix a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't mad at that. I looked. I mean, seemed to be decent size. They said he's 6'3". Um, yeah, no, I'm cool with that. I think we don't know who they are yet, and that's still to be determined. We
Right,
know who on the rock with. We know who the quarterback is. Defense is mostly set. I think we will be kind of playing musical chairs with those with the receivers a little bit until people start to break out.
right.
Um, but I think you could chalk Loveland in um,
Oh yeah,
for a primary target. I
I
think
think
he's yeah,
I think Loveland, and not to be trying to compare and put like nothing up or compare him with anybody, but my man's in Georgia that they be talking about up that tight end might be going like top three next
Bowers.
year.
Oh no,
Yeah,
next year. Yeah.
Bowers. Yeah, I think Loveland, the way he can run pretty well. He definitely like a new age tight end. I feel like he can get
Yeah.
rolling this year for sure.
6'5", 240, 16 receptions, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he did. No offense to Eric All, appreciate Eric All, but he literally crushed like Eric All's like junior stats, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
big season
Well,
coming.
yeah. Yeah. Just like you called me out, Eric All did save us from Penn State.
Right. Yeah. I know. Like I said,
Yeah. No,
I
I'm joking with you. No,
yeah.
anybody
Ooh, I'll mess around and see them in the conference championship. Real talk.
hey, we can hope. We can hope. But yeah, no, I know we're gonna get into the Lions next week.
Yep.
I'm just looking at the stats right here. My man barely even played Loveland until like mid-November.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had
Chilling.
like he had like 3 catches for 21 yards until November.
Oh, because Schoonmaker messed up his shoulder, so like he came
Yeah,
in and just started going crazy. Yeah, it's sky limit for sure.
no, for sure. But yeah, no, I know we gonna try to do the same thing for the Lions next week.
Yep.
Uh, and then we in it. I think we get some football tomorrow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Browns versus Jets. So yeah, no, I mean, hey, it's around the corner here. So yeah, I'll
Oh
catch
yeah.
the first drives of that one. But we,
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a Zach Wilson versus whoever the Browns have is like their fourth string.
that's a great. Yeah. Hey, we was right about a whole nother side point. We was right about the Zach Wilson bust alert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, call that out. But yeah, no, you got anything else for the people?
That's all I got. We'll tune in with y'all next week.
Yes, sir.